Hello.
I think we're good to
Welcome.
go here.
I don't know what's going on with my intro music, but welcome to Office Hours episode 812 or so. We are rocking and rolling as usual. And I have two of my faves in the house, and they look like brothers from another mother. But my mentor, Blaine Bartlett, is here today, moving possibilities into reality. Join his wait list now for his mastermind group, an exceptional group of people that want to help each other, know people that help each other. And of course, one of my partners downtown there is Rhett Power. Got to spend some extraordinary time in the holding court in unbelievable, beautiful New York
Yeah.
City. Head of Mentals is his new book, How Leaders Can Crack Negative Self Talk. If you don't have negative self talk, then you're a liar. So, in itself, what you have is exterior self talk in denial. So, check out Head of
Right.
Mentals. I promise you, it'll get you to where you want to be or better. Let's get right to it as we rock and roll here. Greg Hawkes has been waiting in the wings,
Hey,
flying
hey, hey.
around. Super excited, Greg, about your new book coming up here in January. It'll be a good warm up for my book at Super Bowl. But act like an owner. Five
Yes,
unlocks
indeed.
for creating culture people love and results leaders need. I was saying today, people don't work for companies, they work for cultures. But I think a lot of people get lost in what that actually means. There's so
hmm
much, just like it was authenticity, so much talk about authenticity. There's so much talk about culture. Um, I don't think a lot of people get into the nitty gritty of when we're building a culture in this collective. What are the attributes of culture? What are we looking at?
Oh man, there's so many, like you said, there's so many different ways people can approach it. So it's not like a one size fits all because every organization, even just in your world, I'm sure has different real priorities for that culture. Because culture really is the environment that attracts the kind of individuals that will thrive and succeed for that mission. And so,
Mm,
depending on what your mission is, depending on what you're trying to achieve, depending on who you're trying to attract, depending on who you're trying to serve, the people that fit there and the way they go about doing business is really what the culture invites. And so, this philosophy of an ownership culture is really, infused in this idea of how do we create spaces where people want to buy in, day out.
beautiful.
Yeah, and the buy-in there is the interesting piece on that, I think, Greg. One way that I've worked with clients, with whom we actually interact is, when we get into the culture conversation, and I'm an adjunct professor at Beijing University, and the focus there is on cultural development, in organizations. And the shorthand that I've been working with is it's the ways, plural, the ways we've agreed to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of however that, it's probably this, very simplistic definition. But the intent of a highly curated culture is to get emotional engagement from people in
Right.
what it is that we're doing. And that holy grail of emotional engagement seems to be very elusive. I mean, if you look at Gallup's data on people, emotional engagement, it's disengaged hovers around 90%, for the last 20 years, and the needle hasn't moved a lot.
Well, what's interesting, Blaine, that I found really with this book, because I kind of use that same framework. I own investment properties, so I talk about owners, renters, and vandals in the workplace, and using Gallup's engaged, disengaged, and actively disengaged. What most people do is get really hung up on the disengaged number, but the reality is if you can lower the actively disengaged, because those are your silent saboteurs, those are the ones that are gossiping, those are the ones creating division, they're the vandals, right? And just like Malcolm Gladwell says, you can move a couple points down and it tips. Then all of a sudden these disengaged, they shift over into the engaged. They go from renters to owners, and I try to create lease purchase options. How do we get people to buy back in those settings? And it's usually because of the vandals. It's not the disengaged are bad. It's they're every other person in the workplace. It's like 52% over 25 years. So it's not that the disengaged are bad. They've just decided it's not worth caring. It's not worth using their mind. It's not worth using their imagination. And they've just kind of checked out because the culture turned them into that. Because most people start out day one as an owner. And then because of the organization that crushing their spirit and telling them no and not creating opportunities, they just pull back and go, all right, I don't get a return on my investment. Why should I invest?
Spot on.
Well, I have no idea what Blaine said because technology today, for some reason, is like You must not. The gods must not want me to hear Blaine today. I had no idea what.
It
I
was
have
very
no idea
insightful,
what.
Rhett. What he said was spot
Welcome
on.
to my world, Brett. Welcome to my world.
I can't hear him. It's just like he's.
I could hear him, Rhett. I could hear him, but I just couldn't understand him. Can you tell me who Marcus Aurelius is?
Who, me?
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about. So this is going to be an interesting show because we're gonna.
You're going blind. Go for it. It's kind of cool.
Gonna go blind. So you talk about elevating accountability in the book. Hey, talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's such a difficult organizational effort to make because you can't have successful accountability unless people opt in. Right? I can't go, hey, Blaine, I'm going to put you on an accountability program. If Blaine doesn't want to be accountable, he's not going to benefit from it. You know, the way I view accountability is somebody saying, I see there's an area in my life that I need to get better in. I want to invite people into it. So I think about accountability people as progress partners. Where's an area I want to make progress in? And I say, hey, you're further along than I am. I want to make myself accountable to you because the challenge with it is, as you guys know, all of us have these huge egos. And so in a professional setting to say, I need help, it's like, how do I do that? But what I've found is that you can't sustain excellence without accountability. So people who haven't invited accountability and organizations have been intentional about accountability have really committed to mediocrity. And when you understand that's what accountability does, it lifts us as people and as organizations to a place that we can achieve sustained excellence. Then it's not so threatening to our egos, and it doesn't feel like it's a punishment, but it's a pathway for really great success to happen.
It's interesting. I see your book, Greg, as like a CAD tool for culture, right? It allows you to have these unlocks. It has all these different powerful frameworks and tools that can create a 3D design for leaders. But the one component I think that people can really gather from it, coming from the background, Rhett, Blaine, and I, and Napoleon Hill, being the chairman of Napoleon Hill, is it also incorporates culture with intention. So I just wanted to finish up with, understanding, like you said, accountability is one thing, but intention's another. And there's a very difficult challenge in creating a culture of intention.
There is, because the pace of life and the pace of work, and we're just trying to get work done and go, gosh, I have to just be thoughtful about this. And it's one of those things that, as I'm sure you all have experienced, once you incorporate it, it's a time saver because it creates a lot of fluidity in our interactions. There's a lot of thick trust that happens when you have a culture that we've been intentional about crafting for our mission. And so it feels like a big lift on the front end, but on the other side of it, it creates a lot of movement that people can benefit from. And so the intentionality of saying, this is who we are, this is the way we work, this is how we interact with each other, and this is what we expect, creates a platform for people to thrive.
Beautiful. It's a great Christmas gift to pre-order a book, Act Like an Owner, coming from a real estate perspective, 5 unlocks for creating culture people love and results leaders need. It's a great book upcoming for everybody. You don't have to be in real estate. All those
it's
vandals.
Not a real estate book.
No, get all those vandals out of your life. And remember, don't do business with dicks. Greg Hawkes, thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. So good to hang out with all of you today. Thank you.
Come back.
I will.
Awesome. Thank you for your insights and great wisdom. All right. Rhett is back, of course. Yeah. Kevin Lawrence is here out of Vancouver, the president of Lawrence & Company Growth Advisors. We are blessed to have him in his book, The 4 Forces of Growth. And we all want to defy the odds and keep scaling. Welcome, Kevin Lawrence, to Office Hours.
Great. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because you are an incredible author, recognized advisor, and really over 3 decades have provided the wisdom and the faith for scaling clear and actionable in a direct way. And this new book, of course, really helps us focus on the forces of the growth. And so I was curious, starting there, it's one thing to have the techniques, frameworks, the practices and behaviors that are necessary to scale a business, but I don't think very many people have written books about the forces that are behind growth. And I was curious what forces you have identified.
Yeah, well, I took actually the concept from the 4 forces of flight. So basically what makes airplanes fly. Pretty simple stuff. Scientists figured out. The Wright brothers helped us get it going. And there's the lift of the wings that pulls the plane up, and the thrust of the engines takes the plane forward. You combine those two, you get altitude for a plane, and ideally sustained altitude. And in the business, it's actually quite similar. The concept fits perfectly. Is instead of lift of the wings, it's opportunities. It's focusing on possibilities. And I see, Blaine, you got that making possibilities into reality, right? Possibilities that are mostly focused on the customer and solving problems for them, opening opportunities for them, new markets, new products, new services. So that's the lift, is getting your team focused on opportunities. And then thrust is like the courage to do something about it, to step into the unknown, take a calculated risk. And when you have an opportunity focus and you have courage, you get growth. That's what happens in that quadrant. Unfortunately, most executive teams as companies grow get pulled to the opposite of lift. They get pulled down to problems, which is super seductive stuff. And they have courage to solve problems. And they dial in the bottom half of the income statement, and they get their annual bonus, and they get lots of recognition. They just lose growth over time because no one's putting energy into what drives growth.
Yeah. David, go. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, the four forces. As a pilot, I'm familiar with these, and the one that you're not talking about right now is drag.
Yes.
So where does drag come into this conversation?
Yeah, and the drag is the opposite of the thrust, right? It's what slows you down. And if you don't keep hard on thrust, the drag pulls you back into a really bad place. And then sooner or later the plane will fall to the sky, which is the opposite of the courage. So yeah, that is one of the major challenges that people have as well.
That's awesome. Rhett, can you hear us?
I'm back on. Go ahead though, guys. I just jumped back in.
Okay.
No worries.
All right, no, we're good there. So one of the other things is,
one second, I am not hearing properly.
Oh no, because there was a little bit of feedback for.
Yeah. Okay, I'm back. I got you now.
Okay, good. So, in this actionable and direct methodology, there's direct behaviors. What are some of the actionable things that people can do?
Yeah. Well, the first thing as a CEO or an exec is to make sure you have enough of your time focused on growth, and enough of your time on the thing that drives the unit growth or the X growth of your business. Most people, again, they get pulled down into problems and improvement, and they don't have enough time on growth, and then they wonder why they don't grow. So that's one thing to check. And the second is to check the strategic plan or the goals the company has. And most of them over time will be about fixing problems, which is good, but again, it pulls resources away from the growth engine. And so those are two basic things that we check on companies. Where's the CEO and exec team spending their time? Usually they play office too much, and it's way too much internal. And where do we get them in terms of the goals they set for the rest of the org to make sure we're driving the growth and not just making people feel good about improving things?
It's amazing how many times we get so busy working, we forget to make money, and we forget so busy and deep in the problems, we forget to come up with the solutions. And there's someone out there helping us, like Kevin. I highly suggest checking out his new book, The Four Forces of Growth. We can defy the odds, just like flying, and keep our company scaling, clear, actionable, and direct. This book will guide you to become a leader and impact you beyond your balance sheet. Kevin, thanks for writing another extraordinary book. We'll look forward to having you back on.
Great. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin.
You. That's awesome. It's one of those technology days, Rhett, so don't feel bad. It's all over the place. We got background sounds from you. He had echo sounds, but yet possibilities are still turning into reality here on episode 812 of Office Hours. The double A is here, which is somewhere I may have to go visit if this technology keeps screwing up. I'll be in my next AA meeting, but instead, let's bring on Armand Alajian. Hi, Armand. Armand, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Arminate.
Oh, beautiful. See, things are looking up. Anyway, Armand is the founder and CEO of the Advisiors Group, and talking about helping startups. There's one thing when we're working in a business of startups, there's two worries that I have. One is the complexities of the issues are so varied and wide in their spectrum, it's hard to do business with startups. And two, getting paid. I was curious how you deal with the wide spectrum of issues, as a CPA, an experienced CPA, but more importantly, is there a trick on, 80% of business is getting paid on getting paid?
Right, cash is king, right? It's all about the cash flow. So I'm all about systems and processes and projections. So if you have that system in place, you know where your cash is going, you have your cash projections, cash flow, and you need to track it. You don't just build it once and not look at it just to give it to the investors to get your money, but yeah, the due diligence to have that process, to have your AP once a week or whatever it is. And it's holistic. It's not just taxes, and it's not just, oh, I have a business I'm running. It's just constantly operating and making sure everything is done properly and staying on top of it.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and the interesting thing to stay on top of, Armene, is the cash flow that you mentioned, particularly free cash flow. Yeah, as opposed to, and I say opposed to, a lot of the focus for particularly startups is revenue. Let's just start
Yes.
let's just
Yes.
start getting money coming
Yes.
in, and
Right.
they take their eye off the cash flow dynamic. And it's, if you think of cash as the lifeblood, it needs to flow. Revenue is one piece
Absolutely.
of it, but how do you work with business, particularly smaller entrepreneurs that are say under seven figures, as an example, getting them to the point where they recognize cash flow, particularly free
Uh,
cash flow. Cash flow is
uh,
king here.
Right. So it is a mindset, it is psychology, and everybody's focused, like you said, sales, 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 not everything else. Let's look at it as a whole. What does it all look like? So you have your regular financials, your balance sheet, your P&L,
Mhm.
but I like to have just cash flow sheets where you're tracking pure cash in and out. Right? Like your basic cash register, where this is coming in, this is going out, this
Mhm.
is our projection. We're going to need some money, in December, but then that it's not a surprise. We need this for taxes. So a lot is either here on sales, or I don't need it until taxes, just to get people comfortable and into that flow. Like it's not just one system, we need systems in place.
Yeah.
Additional cash trackers, not just your regular financials.
Oh, there we go. We're
Right.
doing
Rhett,
so well. You got me. You got Rhett. He's muted. I'm mispronouncing names left and right, and Blaine is the only one on top of his game today. So be it. ARP would be proud of all three of us. Hey, Mr. Hedimental, we can't hear you. Armene, in the idea of best practices, controlling startups and their founders, and even aligning them with any types of best practices may be an impossibility. What type of documentation do you give them, or how do you mitigate risk for those, maverick type of entrepreneurs who don't have anything to lose? So it's very difficult to follow best practices.
You have to manage. You have to manage it. You need a team to manage it, right? They're like the actors. They're out there doing their thing, so they need a team behind them to do the different things for them. So you set up systems. You try to get as much as you can under your system where you're managing everything from them left to right, and you just give them monthly reports or text or whatever is convenient, or you ask them for attention as needed. But it's a trust, it's a relationship to know that I know everything's being done, and if it's a fire drill, we're here to together to help. It's a relationship. It becomes a relationship, and you're just in the back doing everything.
Doing everything. It's good to have
Yeah.
you in back doing everything. I wish I had somebody when I was a startup doing everything. Blaine, bring us home, my friend, with your possibilities.
Well, as you're talking, Armene, it just there's two accounting methods that we can default to. One is accrual, and the other is
Mm-hmm.
cash.
Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm not focused, the danger that I have found with an accrual system, and then that's kind of what we've set ourselves up on, is that it does not necessarily inform me on the cash flow situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, people will just oftentimes unthinkingly, say, okay, set us up on an accrual basis, and then they're blind to some things because the dashboard actually doesn't come into play in a way that allows me to track my cash.
Right.
Effectively. How do you actually work with people in that neighborhood around
Cash tracker? I have my cash trackers,
Okay,
right?
there
It's
you go.
that something in Excel, something in Google Sheets where I have a system. I implement the different inputs and share this cash tracker weekly, usually weekly. Like, this is where we stand. Yes, financials are there, they're accrual, we need that, but like, this is what's happening with the cash. So it's an additional system, additional step, report, task, whatever we want to call it. It's something else that needs to be done inconsistent with everything else that you do with the regular accounting and the monthly accounting.
Beautiful. Rhett, can you hear us? You want to finish? Or
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, you got a question? Yeah, finish us up. We missed you.
Fantastic. So, Armani, we have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to the show and watch the show. And one of the things that I know that
Lost you.
And there we go again. Armani, I apologize. And I want to pronounce your name correctly. So it's Armani Alajian. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you sure? You pronounce it for me. I want to hear it right.
Armane Lajian.
Lajian. Oh, beautiful. All right. So, names are very important to me. And unfortunately, I have like 50 million of them going through my head. And we need more people like you, great women entrepreneurs that are helping other startups to have the appropriate foundation and structure in order to succeed. And there's nothing more frustrating when a company gets to Blaine or I in a more seasoned level and they haven't or don't have the necessary information, infrastructure, controls, best practices, but yet they have a great business and we can't get it funded or financed because they haven't utilized someone like you in the beginning. And then, it's very expensive and mitigating risk is difficult when you have to backtrack and recreate. And I just want to encourage any startups out there that, the initial investment in somebody like Armane is so important because a strong foundation builds faster and builds higher, builds quicker and more profitable. There's no downside to it. Next to investing in yourself, I would invest in the I'm going to try to say it. Lajian
Group, yes.
Lajian Group. Okay. There's the name butcher, Dave Meltzer, known for butchering names the best that I can with the greatest sincerity and blessing of having these extraordinary entrepreneurs coming on our show. That's why we've done 812 of them, and I've only mispronounced names in 811 of them. So not too bad. It's kind of like Rhett's hit rate today on being able to ask questions. We're almost at 10%. Thank you so much, Armane. Please come back. We have other shows and keep doing your great work. We'll invite you. We'll be in New York. We're having a VIP dinner in New York. We'll be back, and we'd love to have you come out.
Yeah,
and meet
absolutely.
Our
Thank you.
Tons of startups that need you, so we'll feed you some good company.
And I am bi-coastal, New York and LA, so I'm there.
Oh, me too. Yes. Come to SoFi too. We're at SoFi, so perfect. We'll follow each other. Okay. We can even fly together.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Nice to meet you.
Great job. Incredible.
Thank you, Armane.
What a beautiful entrepreneur. She's doing great work with our startups. Okay, takeaways of the day. I'm going to get Rhett because he's working right now. Rhett, what's your takeaway of the day? Technology works. All right, thank you very much. Headamentals.com is Rhett's takeaway of the day.
That's about what I got.
All right, Outliers can crack negative self-talk. That's his takeaway. Blaine Bartlett, what's your takeaway of the day?
4 forces. You've got lift, you've got drag, you've got thrust, and you've got gravity. You want to pay attention. And problem solving is not what you're supposed to be doing. I mean, you need to solve problems, but that's not the focus of your business. You want something that lifts. Move into possibility, get some thrust going. Consistency, momentum.
Yeah, that's awesome. My takeaway is find a CAD tool for everything. I think Greg has his CAD tool to being an owner and building a culture. Obviously, I pointed out Kevin's CAD tool with these 4 forces of scaling or growth. And then Armane had her CAD tool for building the best practices and building the infrastructure early on in a startup so that you have the internal controls and financial reporting that's necessary to succeed in the long run. So look at things as if, what is my CAD in this different business or system? And I think it would really benefit, especially with the power of technology today and the people power of the cultures today as well. I'm blessed to have people power on office hours. Everybody knows that because I bring the best people and the best ideas. That's why I bring Blaine Bartlett, Moving Possibilities into Reality, and my partner there, Rhett Power, headofmentals.com. Go ahead and crack that inner talk and or outer talk, either one. He'll crack the code for you with headofmentals.com. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow, I'm sure. Bye-bye, big fly. All right, I'm here at Aspire Columbus. We're running down to our VIP dinner, and then we'll be back. We got so much going on. Columbus, Ohio, San Diego, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, New York. They're all on the agenda, and Thanksgiving in between. David at dmeltzer.com if you want to join me. If you want to be informed, if you want to be invited to over 200 cities a year, meetups, holding courts, interviews, VIP lunches and dinners and breakfasts. There's so many different things that we do. All you got to do is be in our text community, 949-298-2905. Most pertinent though, tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific time, join us Friday training. Free Friday training for over 28 years. If you haven't joined us, we have almost 1 million registered for our Friday training. David at dmeltzer.com. There's the information. Free Friday training over 28 years as of October 11th, 1011. October 11th, over 28 years ago. And we will be blessed to have our Friday training. Come and join us. You are invited, but not obligated. Watch the replays. Join us, David at dmeltzer.com. Remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Hit it, Gigi.